Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Quiz the Music Man podcast and vlog. I'm Tony Underwood. I'm the Music Man, and I've been involved in music all my life. And I played professionally, and I now write, record, and market my own music. And I also own a music school. And I do this blog and vlog and podcast about music, the music industry, anything you want to know. You can quiz me on it. So we're going to start off today with some music news. So I'm just reading here from some of the most popular news out there because I don't make the news, I just report on it. And other people do it very well, and it's a way to get a bunch of stuff together in one place. So we're going to talk about what's happening in music, what's happening in the music industry, and I'm going to answer a question. So here we are in December 21st, 2020. And Paul McCartney has a new album coming out, and he was on CBS Sunday Morning today talking about the Beatles breakup and his new album. So if you want to find out a little bit about that, take a look. And he talks about a little bit of personal stuff, discusses his new album, about his breakup and his COVID-19 lockdown during an interview. He said that the other things people have been doing is cleaning out their closets. So that's a bit what McCartney 3 was, which is his album. I just started cleaning out my cupboards. Like, what about that song last year that I started but never got to finish? Let's have a look at that. Let's finish this. He does all the instruments on the LP, like his McCartney albums before. And, it's probably going to be one of his best albums because he's pretty much at the top of his game. Music, you just keep getting better and better. There is a point where your physicality might intrude on your voice and you're playing slightly, but you make up for that with your experience and the other things you can do. And the story's told that even during the heyday of the Beatles, they would have something they would have to play and record it. And when you're recording, especially in those times, they actually recorded on this stuff called tape. And it was a lot of work to record and get it just right. The story goes a lot of times, a lot of the other Beatles just couldn't play it cleanly enough or consistently enough. So Paul would have to go over there and do it, play it on the drums or the guitars or whatever. Not to harsh on any of the Beatles, they were kids. But he really had the musicality going. So I would suggest Googling that interview. You might be able to YouTube it, hear the whole thing, or go to CBS and they might have it for you there. And Rolling Stones as well, he talks to them about it. Now, in other music news, Ed Sheeran is teasing a Christmas present. He's gifting fans a Christmas treat with his first new material in almost 18 months. 11 a.m. GMT tomorrow, a Christmas present, Sheran wrote, indicated the new music would appear on today. So it should be out there now. The last music he had dropped in July 2019, so this should be very good. So get out there and listen to Ed Sheeran's new music. I haven't had a chance to listen to it. I guess Peter Jackson is doing a Beatles documentary called Get Back. He drops a little sneak peek about that. So get on the YouTube and the platforms. This was from Rolling Stone, so go over to Rolling Stone and see what you've got there. And also, Congress agrees on a COVID-19 relief bill with funding for live music venues, which is great, and other live venues. I'm in the performing arts. I have a sister dance studio. We do acting as well. So I think that's fantastic that we're getting some funding for that, because let me share with you, the arts aren't just something to make you feel happy. We're always having to explain ourselves, and I feel the arts is just as important as anything else, because see, it's how I make my living. It's my profession. And I do it very well. And it's not just something, here's 5 cents, the kids go over in the corner and make some music. That's not what it's about. This is a profession. This is something that is tough to learn. It's probably tougher than anything I've ever done, and I've done it all. You have something, a lasting legacy. You have something that you can engage in. Music speaks to us in a way that nothing else can, and the arts. And I have to say that I'm not fighting STEM and technology. That's what we need to live, but music and the arts is just as important, because you see, all of our problems in our world, they certainly weren't caused by a song or a dance or a piece of acting. However, I will tell you, most of the solutions, most of the change in this world is led by the arts, and to some extent by athletics, which I feel is a form just as valid entertainment as we are. But I think with the arts, to be honest, the true value is in engaging in them and getting in there. And I always tell my friends who, hang on sports crazy, like I'm crazy about music. I said, why don't you go out and play some football? Because I love music, but I go out and play music. And, I try to get them to engage in that activity as well. So I think having this funding for live music venues and other live venues is a fantastic opportunity. And there's a lot of pent-up, anxiety and frustration. So get out there, use it, and you do it safely, and go for it. So that's a great thing, I think. There's articles all over about that. And KT Osland has died at 78. If you don't know who she is, go on YouTube. You'll figure out. I do a live stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll try to do some of her songs there. Those are the big headlines in that kind of music. So let's talk about music industry. And what does that mean? Well, that's kind of people that are involved in the industry, musicians, agents, managers. COVID-19 strikes a discordant note, but artists find a way to persevere. That's in NBC News, and they talk about how artists have been able to continue doing their art. And you simply use the downtime like you would any downtime to create. You can reach out to so many people through social media and through this media that I'm doing, podcasts, blogs, vlogs, YouTube channels, video, one-on-one Facebook Live. I do a Facebook and Instagram Live every Tuesday and Thursday night. I urge every musician and artist to do that. Get on TikTok and do the Instagram Reels, everything. Get out there. Just put your stuff out there. Doesn't matter how good or bad it is, just do it. Use your phone. Record it, put it out there until you can get some better stuff and connect with your audience. UK Music calls for revival of our world-leading music industry after estimating musicians will lose 65% of their income in 2020. So they're doing the same thing, and I think it's not a bad thing to get out and get involved in music. I think sometimes people will take one slice of music, and because it might have some bad connotations, they paint everything with that picture. But you have to understand, it's just like if you have a young couple and an old couple, and the young couple dresses up in a nice suit, tie, and a beautiful ballroom dress. And the older couple, let's say they're my age and older, let's say they're older than 55 and way on up there, they put on a Speedo bathing suit and the woman puts on a bikini. Now, there's nothing wrong with either of those two, but if you get all in your suit and you go fishing or go mud wading or you go swimming or you go rock climbing and stuff like that, that's just doesn't make any sense. And people will think there's something wrong with you and you'll probably injure yourself. It's just not, it's detrimental to you. And conversely, if the older couple dress like that and go to a formal church gathering or go to somebody's wedding that's in a beautiful chapel, real formal, or that go into the mall when it's freezing weather, or go out into the outside and play golf or something in the freezing weather, that doesn't make any sense either. And it can be detrimental to them. Such as music and the arts. You might be singing or acting or dancing a bikini, and you're not in a bikini place. And you might be in a tuxedo and not in a tuxedo place. So you have to judge the music for what it is. And you wouldn't put on stage makeup and garb and go out in the streets. People would think you're crazy because you'd have the big raccoon eyes and this brilliant makeup, and it would be powder all over, and maybe wigs and these huge gowns that have been around forever. Conversely, you wouldn't just get up, brush your teeth, and go out on stage, and playing cats or something. I mean, you would have to have all your makeup and things on to do that. So I think the music industry, the arts industry is very important, and I love seeing that this stuff is kind of coming out, and that the UK is going to try to amp up their music industry. Now, here's from the Digital Music News: how to make it in the music industry. 2 pros, break it down. And that's something I'm doing. I'm starting to market my own music, even at my elderly age, and I'm always looking for things to do. So the first thing they say is learn the industry, make connections, and think long term. And I agree with that. I think you should connect with like-minded musicians and artists. Connect in your local level with someone who sings the same kind of songs. Collaborate. Start engaging with your media fans and so forth. Embrace the creative side. Get into your creatives. Don't shy away from it. You have to get to the creative side, but you have to know the business and the laws. They say don't hesitate to voice concern. This person allowed someone else on their team to dictate what they do, so you have to kind of stand up for yourself. And you have to take your career seriously and treat it like a business, like anything else. I tell the students that want to go into the business for a career to use their middle school, high school, college times to immerse themselves in this business. Get to know people, start playing for free, start asking people to donate money for you to buy equipment, tell them what equipment. Start on YouTube. If you're underage, get your parents' permission, your guardian's permission, start on YouTube, Instagram. Start creating, putting it out there, performing. You can't perform right now, it's tough, but you will be able to. But you can certainly perform remotely. Call up a group, a Zoom, and ask them you'd love to sing, the national anthem or a couple hymns or a couple songs to their meeting or their group. One of the things I'm doing is contacting groups that like some of the artists I like to sing their music, like the Beatles or Billy Joel, and you get fan clubs on social media. Contact those clubs, say, I'd love to do a free set for you, 30 minutes. And then if they like it, say, you know what, if they do like it, here's my Patreon page, or you can donate, or you can say, well, if you like it so much, let me book another session next month. And then say, if you don't mind, I'm just going to put this out there. You don't have to donate, but if you want to, you can, and follow me and start doing that. So that's some ways you can help yourself as a musician in the music industry. So that's some of the news and some of the things going on. If you have some things you want to know about or hear about or thought you've heard about, go ahead and shoot me a message, and we'll definitely look into that. So I have a question here. I've got this from several people, and it's what they're asking is, Tony, I'm having trouble reading notes. It's just gobbledygook up there. And it is. It's this mysterious nether dimension, some other nether realm of, mysteriousness and craziness. Like a Salvador Dali painting or something, really just distorted view of reality. It's like the quantum realm, and I think we'll eventually find when they do nail that one formula, that the everything theory that connects everything, it'll look like music I'm sure of it. So I'm having trouble reading them notes. Well, if you'll notice behind me, if you can see, I have some different notes, and I'm going to erase that. These are scales that I put out, but I'm going to erase that. If you bear with me, let me get my eraser. And for those of you who can't see, because you're listening to the podcast, don't fret. It will all be revealed to you as well as I do it. I'll try to talk in a way that makes sense. I know it's a lot of trying to get my my eraser out of my little cubby hole. Okay. This is going to be music theory in a nutshell. I'll use the red. Typical music notation is made up of a staff. A staff is simply 5 lines and 4 spaces. And you've all seen that. For those of you that can't see what I'm doing, I'm drawing 5 lines up on the board. Music has pitches. The pitches is the highness and lowness of a note. Ah, 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 ah. Those are 3 pitches. And a pitch is a certain vibration. So if I sing a note, and I'm just going to sing any note, it's not necessarily going to be a note. Let's say that has 440 vibrations per second. If I sing an octave above that, that's now 880. If I sang an octave below, it would be 220. It would be that note repeating itself. So pitches in music, Western music, are named by the alphabet from A to G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it begins again. A, B, C, D, E, F, and so on. And this is G, F, E, D, C, and so forth. Looks like an A, it's a D, and so forth. We place these pitches or letter names on the staff of 5 lines and 4 spaces. And how do we do that? First, we need to know what staff we're talking about. Most typically in a piano or in a guitar, piano, or a vocal, it's this. This is a clef. It's called a G clef because it curls around the line that signifies the note G. And then we have another clef called the F clef, and this has 2 dots that go across the line that signifies a G. So the notes are different on those clefs and other clefs as well. We're going to stick with the treble clef. There's 5 lines and 4 spaces. Now, to know what line you have to remember this little device. It's called Every Good Boy Does Fine. That's the lines from bottom to top. The spaces spell out the word face, F-A-C-E. So if I put a note here, I'll put the head right there on the second line up. Well, what's the note? Well, is it on a line or a space? Well, the line goes right through that note. It's on a line. What's our memory device for lines? Every good boy does fine, starting from the bottom. Every good, G. That's the letter name G. How about this up here on this part? Is this a space? Well, the lines go right below and right above it. There's no line through it. That's a space. How do we spell our space notes? We start from the bottom and spell out the word face. F-A-C-E. It's the top space. It's an E. And we do that over and over. Now, when we get outside the staff, let's say we're here, we don't have this is sitting on the top line. We don't have a memory device for that. But notes go in order, line, space, line, space. So this is a space, the E. This next line would be an F. And the only next note we could get would be a space. Now we don't have a space, but what we do is we put a short line called a ledger line on top of it. And that continues up to eternity if we need it to be. And you see, here's how those lines will look. That's the line, that's the space. So in other words, you can see with the short dashes how it works. And it goes right on up. So this note would be a G, because the next note that could possibly be after an F is the next note in the alphabet, G. And that's what that is, so that's a G. You don't have to concern yourself too much with that. Just practice, and you can actually practice writing out these 5 lines like I did, putting your little notes on. Now it's easier to make the note look more like a bean or a slanted almond or something rather than a perfect circle, but it doesn't matter. As long as you can write these and take a minute to go through our system. Always, always. Is it line or space? If it's a line, what's our memory device? Every good boy does fine, starting from the bottom, spell it out, find it. If it's a space, F-A-C-E, wherever that is, that's what that is. Now, that's how to start. But I also urge you to start using some of these apps. And there's many apps out there. I would suggest I use Music Tutor a lot. It's a free app, although you can purchase it. There's many more. Just look on your App Store or your Google Play or whatever it is, and look up note reading practice. Or sometimes you can put music theory, but I would stick with note reading. Because that will be like a little game, and it will pop up a staff, it will play the note, and it'll give you suggestions or choices, and you pick it. If you're wrong, it'll show you what it should be, and then you start getting it right. Let me share with you, don't worry how badly you do, it doesn't matter. If you use this app, no matter how badly you are at first, you will get super. I've had kids that I've had for 5 or 6 years and still weren't great note readers. They had to still go back to because they didn't practice enough. They didn't practice reading notes enough. And I put them on this music tutor, and they wouldn't do the music tutor either, which is just human nature. So I would start doing it in lessons, about 2 or 3 minutes a lesson. That's it, during an hour or half-hour lesson. And let me tell you, within a few weeks, I saw a marked improvement. And within 6 months, they were the best note readers, because you want to get to where you at a glance without even thinking about it, know it. And that's the way to do it. So I hope that answered your question on how to get note reading. If you still have some problems, shoot me a message, and we might be able to do a one-on-one, or we'll do a Facebook Live you can watch on the Underwood School. And if you have any more questions you want to know about the music industry, about being a musician, about music in general. We talk about a lot about life issues, because learning music and learning life is the same thing. The names are changed to protect the innocent, but that's about it. So do what you love and learn to monetize it. There you go. And you'll be happy ever after. And remember, if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. But when you're living in the present, you're at peace. And that's what music helps you do, live in the present. So I hope you have a great week. Hope you have a fantastic holiday. For those of you who celebrate Christmas, hope you have a wonderful Christmas. For those of you who celebrate Hanukkah, again, wonderful Hanukkah. Kwanzaa, beautiful Kwanzaa, and any other just spiritual or mystical or whatever it is you are. I hope you have that good time during this holiday season, and we will see you next week. This is Tony Underwood, the Music Man, signing off.